Hello and welcome to another Tabletop Ramblings Middle-earth strategy battle game battle report. Today's battle is between the Serpent Horde and a Fiefdoms Minas Tirith alliance. Today's game is a 550 point game, and this is the good force Imrahil with his knights and some Minas Tirith friends. So that's Imrahil on horse with shield and lance as the leader of this army with 6 mounted knights. Then Hurin on horse with 10 warriors, 5 with shield, 5 with shield and spear to be the anvil, and then some support from Madril and his 5 spear armed rangers. So this then is that 555 points of good. The evil army challenging them is the mighty mumakil with 11 guys on top, 5 with spear, 6 with bow, and then on the ground there's a banner and spear, and then 10 guys, 5 with bow, 5 with spear, led by the chieftain, who has a bow and is atop his zebra. The mighty mummock has rappling lines and rocks as well. Today's battle is taking place on this slightly Harad themed board with those Middle Eastern houses and the palm trees and the little oasis. And the forces are both set up 12 inches on, facing against each other for Seize the Prize. This is a game that ends only when both forces have been quartered or that prize is taken off the enemy side of the board. And for victory points, we have killing the enemy leader and breaking the enemy force. And of course, the all-important prize in the middle. And that prize in the middle that we can see from atop the Horde is worth most of the points in this scenario. 3 if your team have it, 5 if you have it and you've got it in the enemy board half, and a massive 7 if you can run it off the enemy's board edge. So diving into turn 1 priority, it goes to good. And good, just advance. Madril and his friends moving half on the flank, ready for some shots. And then Imrahil and friends ploughing up towards that objective, with Imrahil hiding behind the tree so he can't get trampled. Evil respond just by running forward. The mummock running as fast as it can towards the enemy, and the Haradrim moving around. Then in the shoot phase, Madril takes aim at the mighty mumakil. He's got a couple of guys, they've moved, but they're quite good shots. They're hitting on 4s, fairly average, but Madril misses, which is a shame. They're then wounding that defense 7 mummock on 6s by 4s. So there's 2 6s needing a 4, and that is a wound first turn on the mumakil. It takes its stampede check, and on a 7 passes that test. Then returning fire, we have quite a few shots. These are from the Horde, and there is 3 shots there. Only 1 gets past the tree. They're going for Imrahil. It goes down onto his horse. Can they kill? No. And his horse is fine. Then the remaining shots that couldn't quite see Imrahil are just going after rangers. 1 hit, but no kill from the Haradrim bows. Then the chieftain, a long shot at a rider, but misses. And that is the end of the turn, and that is a quick overview of how we're looking as we go into turn 2 priority, which swings here to evil. Evil with priority means Imrahil is calling a heroic move. He wants to pin the mummock in place and stop things happening. Evil don't bother countering. They've not got much might, and they save that for later. So Imrahil, uncontested, moves forward to touch the objective but not try and take it. And then the rest of his force run forward, screening him, moving towards the objective and tying down the mumakil. Finally, the knight moves onto the objective And then Fish's dismount out. He is going to try and pick up the objective, and he is successful on the 6. And then just fixing his placement, he wanted to be next to Imrahil to pass it on next turn. In Evil's move, the Chieftain and friends run forward, and then round the back a couple of guys, as well as a couple of the spearmen from the Horde who have come down just to try and get as many numbers into the fight as quickly as possible for Harad. Then in the shooting phase, we have some rocks to throw. It's an 8-inch range. Not 100% sure if there's geometry involved in this. If so, 1 or 2 might not have quite been able to hit. But they all lob their stones at Imrahil. And a lot of them hit. The Chieftain doesn't, who is the leader of the army, we should point out, up atop that mumakil. And so horse or rider, and Imrahil's horse is crushed by a strength 6 rock. Then the rest of them a wound on Imrahil. Good shooting there from Harad. He fates it and is fine, using that fate. Oh, in fact, one of those is his throne rider. Then into combats, and the spearmen out the Horde win the fight. And then they kill the knight. That is unfortunate there. That's knight going down. He didn't get his charge bonus because he charged a war beast. And then we have a knight who remembers to use Imrahil's banner reroll, but still loses against the mighty mumakil that then absolutely squashes him to kill 2 knights in the first round of combats. And that then is the end of the turn. So going into turn 3 priority, it goes again to Evil. And so Hurin calls a heroic move countered by the Zebra Rider Chieftain, and it goes to Evil. With Evil completing their move, tying down those knights and Hurin, the heroic move for good is turned off, and the mumakil is able to move unimpeded. And it charges through a lot of guys. Sadly lost the footage on that, but it crushed through a knight and some friends to smash into Imrahil and dealing him a wound. That loom band on the Mummak's base represents the objective that was squashed under the Mummak's base. A Haradrim had tagged the guy holding it, but then as the Mummak trampled over the knight, he gave it to the warrior of Harad, but then the Mummak squashed him as well, and so that objective is unclaimed and under the Mummak's base. Then after that, the Evil force just form up around the Mummak to keep it as safe as possible. Good then throw bodies into the mumakil fight to help out Imrahil and overwhelm this poor fellow so that Hurin is set up for a heroic combat. Then Madril moves full on the flank, half in fact, to get some shots off. He then takes those shots into the back rank and gets 3 hits. Not too bad. If he can kill all 3, he'll take out the banner, but that is just 1 kill. 1 less Haradrim spearman. Then the return fire, slightly out of sequence as it's Evil's priority, load all their stones into Hurin's fight. There's just 2 hits, which is not ideal, but not too bad. Friend or foe, so 1 on each. The 1 on the Harad warrior kills him, which is quite fortunate, to be fair, for Harad, as there's no heroic combat. That strength 6 squashes the D4 fella, and then randomizing who's it going to hit. It's going to hit Hurin, and then is it going to hit his horse? Yes. Can they kill the horse? No, not quite. A 3 would have squashed it. We then have a couple of other shots, just going into unengaged guys. Again, these are stones. 1 hit, needing a 4 to kill, but that 1 not enough. And there is no poison on rocks. Into the combat phase, and the Mummak sets a high bar of a 6. And then Imrahil and friends also get a brace of 6s. And so they are then going to be rolling to wound. And they just need straight 6s to wound the mumakil, but no wounds. Not really worth might at this stage. Then we have the Chieftain and friend who have got a 6. Can the knight get a 6? He's got fight value with Imrahil's buff. No, he can't. Not on a 3 and a 2 with his banner. Then the knight is fine and just pushed back by a fairly ineffectual chieftain. As there's only one other fight, we'll do this live, and the knight who didn't charge only gets a 4. He banner rerolls, but is not enough. That gold dice, of course, is the Harad banner. Negative to win the fight, but not to wound, and he kills that knight. Overview at the end of the turn, and both forces ready to properly clash now in the next couple of turns, with the mumakil stood directly on top of that objective. Rolling for turn 4 priority, and it goes once again to evil. So Hurin calls a heroic move, countered by that chief again, and it goes to good. With that heroic, Hurin and his friends charge in to the warriors of Harad, tying down the chieftain, and Imrahil charging the mumakil to stop that trample. In evil's move, they charge in and surround as best they can the warriors on the left, and then in good's move, Madril comes in and fully overwhelms those warriors of Harad. There are some shots though, and those guys in the Horde are going after Imrahil. There's only one hit. It is the chief, so there's some might behind that. He sadly hits the mummak, but doesn't wound. We then have the guy at the top of the Horde, and he is just going to shoot into one of the guys at the back, but he misses. Into the combat phase, and Hurin calls a heroic combat as he wants to help out Imrahil against the mummak, and Madril's arrived now to call heroic moves. He wins the fight, nice and comfortably, although only on a 4, and then he smashes that poor infantryman to pieces. Then passes his courage test to charge into the mummak, with one of the rangers helping out Imrahil. So that mummak fight, the mummak sets the bar at a 6 again, but Imrahil, and importantly Hurin there, Imrahil getting triple 1s, but Hurin winning the fight, doesn't do any wounds. And then can Imrahil do some work? Yes, 1 wound there on the beast, and then there's the ranger who doesn't do anything. So the courage test to see if it tramples, easy peasy there, no chance on an 11, and because it's a immovable object, even though good won, they back away. The rest of the fights, Madril going in against that banner, trying to take out one of the rerolls, although of course the mummak also gives a reroll, which does stack with the banner. He has won that fight. Can he kill? Yes, the second set of trapped dice gets the banner killed. Then the chief, can he do anything this game other than a couple of very useful heroic moves? He's winning on a 3 high, but there is the banner reroll on the knight. 2-1! So the chief and friend have won that fight. The chief, of course, on the translucent dice there. And no wounds so far. Cocked dice to reroll. No. Rerolling 1s for poison. No. So that knight is fine, although he is trapped. So rolling those again, he does go down. Finally goes down. Not actually the chief that does it, though. Then in the rest of the fights, we have a warrior of Minas Tirith getting killed. Then another falling. And then another on this very brutal left-hand side. On the right-hand side then, the forces of Harad have taken a real beating, but they've done the work on the left. And the objective still unclaimed underneath the mummak. Going into turn 5 priority, and it goes again to evil. So Madril, quick off the mark, calls a heroic move. And the only might left for evil is the evil leader in the Horde, and he calls a move. And it goes to evil. This is going to hurt. So just getting rid of those trees, because they are just a nightmare with those daft tusks. Although we'll try and remember to put them back. The mummak turns, dearie me, they're such a beautiful model, but they are a nightmare. Hitting the Hurin first and insta-killing him on those rolls. Hurin goes down. That is savage. Then plows forward, just clipping the Harad bowman first and killing him. Harad running their own guys over, but that's all half the fun. Then probably into the warrior of Minas Tirith first, killing him. And then finally into Prince Imrahil, who takes another wound. That is nasty there for Imrahil. Madril's now fairly defunct heroic move. They just stop the chieftain from getting the charge bonus and try and trap and kill. Then in the shoot phase, the few remaining guys in the Horde, most of them have dismounted by now, do get one hit, which is that chief, but it's not a kill. So this is how we're looking at the end of the movement phase. Harad surrounded on the right, Minas Tirith on the left. Into combats then, we have the mighty Mummak again getting a 6, setting a decent bar, but losing there on fight value. Only fight value 4. Imrahil and his buddies win that fight. And then 2 wounds on the Mummak, taking it down to a mere 6 wounds, passes its first courage test, and the next. So it won't stampede, but it's nearly half dead. Then in the fight phase, we have evil priority. So they're doing the bowman and ranger to untrap the chieftain, although that bowman fails to kill the ranger. And then we move on to the chieftain. Chieftain with 2 attacks. He's winning so far. And in fact, banner reroll is only for fiefdoms. So the ranger doesn't get it, but he's fine against that impotent chief. We then have Madril, the unsung hero, who wins his fight, but banner reroll for being near a Mummak wins the fight. Madril ponders, but doesn't spend might. He wants that for heroic moves. So backing away, that ranger takes the hit, but is fine. Then in the rest of the combats, a warrior of Harad is pushed back, and that spearman is pushed back as well. Then over here, a warrior of Minas Tirith pushed back for some fairly ineffectual combats rather, but then these 2 warriors of Minas Tirith trapped, surrounded and slaughtered on the left for another fairly brutal round of combats. Turn 6 priority, and this time it swings to good. So the inevitable heroic move roll-off from leader chief up on the Mummak, countered by Madril. And then this roll-off is a very big one, and it goes again to very lucky evil. So, trampling his own guys, he squashes the Harad warrior who was in the way, and then moves on to the next and squashes him. The strength 9 trample is brutal. The guy in front of Imrahil also squashed. And then he's hitting next Imrahil. And is he going to kill him? Oh, in fact, no, we've gone for the ranger. It's quite difficult to tell when the Mummak can't really move forward properly. And then into Imrahil. He's only got 2 wounds, no fate left. Ooh, and he's left with just 1 wound, no fate. We then have the courage test for the broken Madril and the forces of Gondor, but he passes that, and his standfast gets all of his lads into where they need to be, helping out Imrahil against the Mummak, who is then pulled away by 4 warriors. And then in that fight, the 4 warriors, no chance against Imrahil, who swings his blade and wins that fight. He is then only looking for 4s to wound and stuffs one of them up. And he goes for the archer just closest to the Mummak. The Mummak, now just fighting against 2 shielding guys, looking to do further damage, loses that fight. And the 2 warriors, although they've won, back away, but importantly aren't squashed. Madril then again loses his fight by 1, but needs to save that might. So he takes a stab, even though it's poison reroll on 1s. Can't reroll the reroll, and he is fine. Then the chief, looking to kill that ranger, wins the fight on a 6, nice and comfortably, and finally does some work and kills a ranger. Then The poor lad trapped by 2 rangers is killed. Tit for tat, a warrior of Minas Tirith goes down, and then a ranger backs away. And there ends turn 6 as we go into turn 7 priority. And this time it goes to good, and as evil are out of might, Imrahil stands fast and then charges into some standard lads. We've got a just pass of Madril, who passes with the army bonus +1 courage and ties up the enemy. Ranger tying up the mumakil for a turn, and that is all of Good's move, while the evil leader, safe in the Horde, watches his warriors surround the forces of Minas Tirith. We then have Madril getting double 6s fighting the chieftain, who banner rerolls for being near a mummock to a draw on fight value here. He's then rolling the important to win it on the draw. So he is making strikes now, and he's going after the ranger. So first dice to kill the ranger fails, but re-rolling 1s still fails. And then trying valiantly to kill that ranger, he does finally stuff him up on that 5. Then round the back of the mumakil, that ranger trying to sneakily take on the mummock, gets a 1 and loses that fight. The mumakil then tramples all over him and squashes that ranger. Probably didn't even know he was there. In the rest of the combats, a warrior of Minas Tirith just backs away, but the ranger not so lucky when he's trapped, and then just another back away there. We've then got Imrahil, who wins the fight fortunately, as he's 1 wound, no fate, and he kills another warrior to, I believe, now break the forces of Harad. So straight into turn 8 priority, and it goes to evil. With that, Madril uses his last point of might to call a heroic move, pass his standfast, and charge into the chieftain. Then, courage test on this fellow to charge the warrior and wrap into the terrifying mumakil. Imrahil standfast is a pass as well, and he is just going for numbers. He's trying to kill as many guys as possible to try and quarter evil. A couple of the forces of evil fail their courage tests, but most pass into the combat phase, and there's not very many, so we'll do these live. Evil, even with their mummock banner reroll, lose the fight, but are just pushed back. We then have the mumakil itself, with Friend fighting against a poor, lonely warrior of Minas Tirith. The warrior of Minas Tirith decides to just fight it out. He loses, probably might have done better shielding there, but loses and gets squashed. But at this point, it's all fairly brutal now for the forces of good. We then have Madril, who sets the bar at a 3 high. That is not good there. He's against the chief and 2 friends who win that fight. There's definitely nothing Madril could do about it. And then they have double strikes and deal 1 wound there on the first lot. And then another wound against D5 Madril. He's got 1 fate, 2 wounds, so he needs to pass this, which he does, just leaving him with 1 wound, no fate. We then have the final fight. Imrahil, who has won that fight just on the 6 there, and actually does manage to get a kill as well, holding on to the last gasp, killing the one furthest away from the mumakil. Then straight into turn 9 priority, which sadly for the forces of good goes to evil. So taking courage tests with just the normal warriors, because this game only ends when both forces are quartered. Evil now want this to end, but most of their guys are too brave, so they decide to just plow into Imrahil, all the ones that survive anyway. The courage check cull, which most of them do, only 1 has run so far. Then up here we go to the mumakil, which auto passes courage tests, as does everyone in the Horde, squashing the warrior of Minas Tirith with every strike there. It is absolutely savage. Then goes in on the first friend and kills him even on 3s. Then they've been knocked, but the next guy to hit there is Imrahil, who is squashed. He's got no fate left, only 1 wound. He is killed. And then the mumakil decides to just go for it and kill his own friends. He could stop hitting a friend. He doesn't have to keep going, but he decides to, because why not? And we need to quarter evil. So he's killed another of his friends, and then he goes into the next. Can he squash the last? Yes, he is dead. Then the mummock moves the rest of his move to be the full 8 inches, which importantly has uncovered the objective. So on a 5, passing that courage test, we did have to double check his courage, the chieftain dismounts and picks up the objective, which has already been dug up by someone way back when. Then the other 2, with that stand fast, charge Madril. So this is how we are looking, as we have just 1 warrior of good left. Can Madril do it? There's a cock dice there. Yes, he's won the fight, so at least he won't be tabled. And he actually kills in that final combat of the game. And there, with both forces well and truly quartered, the game is over. With Imrahil dead and squashed, it's 2 victory points to evil, then a further 3 for having the objective, although it is on their own side, and then they've also broken the enemy for another 1, which is 6 victory points, with 1 going to good, as evil are also very, very broken. I hope you enjoyed that game. It was definitely great fun to play. The mumakil is awesome. It's sometimes a bit unreliable, but it never ceases to provide entertainment using it, and even being squashed by it. If you want to see this ancient, at least over a decade old mummock being restored, there is a video that I'll link down in the description below. Please do like, comment and subscribe, and hit that bell button to be notified of future videos. Again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.